Section 4. You will hear part of a research methods lecture. First you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this auxiliary lecture on research methods. This lecture is not aimed specifically at one particular course, but is a general lecture that will be relevant to any student who must conduct research into a topic for his or her course. For most of you, this will be the research that you need to do in order to write your dissertation and theses. It has been said that first world societies are no longer industrial societies, but information societies. That is, our major problems and tasks no longer mainly centre on the production of goods and services necessary for survival and comfort, but rather require a prompt and accurate flow of information on preferences, needs and behaviour. This is why surveys today are regarded with so much importance. What then is a survey? Today, the word survey is used most often to describe a method of gathering information from a sample of individuals. This way, the results can be projected from the sample to the larger population. An important consideration to take at the start is to decide how large a survey to perform. The sample size required for a survey partly depends on the statistical quality needed and the size of the total population of the area in question. Even so, there is no simple rule for sample size that can be used for all surveys. Analysts, though, often find that a moderate sample size is sufficient statistically and operationally. A properly selected sample of only 1,000 individuals can reflect various characteristics of the total population, but it is not always needed to sample the entire population for your needs. I'd like now to look at some of the types of survey available to us, and the focus here will be on methods for surveying individuals and companies. Mail, telephone interview, and in-person interview surveys are the most common ways for doing this. The latter can be in offices, homes, or on the street. Mail surveys can be relatively low in cost. A decent response rate, though, is the major problem. Mail surveys can be most effective when directed at particular groups, such as subscribers to a specialised magazine or members of a professional association. Telephone interviews are an efficient method of collecting some types of data and are being used increasingly. They lend themselves particularly well to situations where timeliness is a factor and the length of the survey is limited. For students such as you, though, cost will be an issue. In-person interviews in a respondent's home or office are good when complex information is to be collected. It could involve a great deal of travelling around, though. Street interviews could also be useful as they are easy, but the sampling is not very scientific. We also need to look at the content of our surveys. Surveys can focus on opinions and attitudes, or on factual characteristics or behaviour. Many surveys combine types of question. Questions may be open-ended, such as, "Why do you feel that way?" or closed, such as, "Do you approve or disapprove?" The questionnaire may be very brief, a few questions, taking 5 minutes or fewer, or it can be quite long, requiring an hour or more of the respondent's time. Also, because changes in attitudes or behaviour cannot be reliably ascertained from a single interview, some surveys employ a panel design, in which the same respondents are interviewed on 2 or more occasions. There are also certain ethics to be looked at in conducting surveys. Some of you will see that the information that you will compile is of value to companies operating in that particular sector. Therefore, you must always bear in mind a few guidelines. Surveys should be carried out solely to develop statistical information about a subject. They should not be designed to produce predetermined results or as a ruse for marketing and similar activities. The industry standard for all reputable survey organisations is that individual respondents should never be identified in reporting survey findings. All of the survey's results should be presented in completely anonymous summaries, such as statistical tables and charts.
That is the end of section 4. You will now have half a minute to check your